You gain control of J.K. Rowling's Twitter account for a day. What unnecessary piece of information do you add to Harry Potter lore? Witches and wizards have microscopic beings called magi-chlorians that live within their bodies, which grant them access to magic. Magi-chlorians eat dark matter and shit out raw magic into the wizards' bodies. Science. Harry's favorite finger, for no particular reason, is his left index finger. Also, inexplicably, that's Ginny's as well, and strangely enough, Ginny's left index finger is Harry's favorite. The sorting hat was %100 unnecessary for class distribution. Its primary purpose was to get rid of head lice. Ron likes to take all his clothes off when he poops. Oddly enough, I have a friend who's been compared to Ron many times who also does this. Hogwarts in the 60s was a drug-fueled technicolor dancing orgy every night, and the only reason it doesn't come up more often is because not a lot of people clearly remember it. That must be when Dumbledore made the switch from sharp-looking suits to colorful flowy robes. Harry and Ron used some of Hermione's hair plus Polyjuice potion to kill some time in the dormitories. That was great, Ron. I promise I'll be Hermione next time. You always say that. The reason Dumbledore didn't bring back Harry's parents with the time turner is because Dumbledore always wanted a son of his own, but then changed his mind a few years later and dumped him at the Dursleys. Voldemort doesn't have a butthole after resurrection. The Loch Ness Monster is someone who tried Polyjuice potion with basilisk DNA. Ron grew up to become Ed Sheeran. Hagrid was a metaphor for the misunderstanding and mistreatment of furries. Voldemort's parents were anti-vaxxers. Harry frequently entered the girls' dormitory. How did he defeat the staircases that turned into ramps? It's the most impenetrable security system ever invented. Just think, if only Gringotts had used ramp staircases. Just cast a spell on himself, Wingardium Leviosa, float over the stairs. It's Leviosa. The Forbidden Forest is forbidden because Dumbledore and Hagrid have an illegal grow-up hidden inside. The Wizarding School is a front to launder money. At the time of bringing his kids to platform 9 3/4 at the end of the 7th book, Harry is out on bail for wizard tax evasion due to hiring Percy as his accountant. Alternatively, Harry is flat broke at the end of book 7 and lives a life of complete poverty. You see, the Wizarding Bank was no longer willing to do business with the man who strolled in the front door and robbed the out of them. Since goblins can't use wands, they also seized all funds from Harry's vault to pay wizards to repair the damages. There's a witch writer called K.J. Loring, famous for her Muggle book series Harold Rogers, where the protagonist engages in wacky Muggle adventures with sidekicks Roberta Beasley and Herman Danger. A wacky Muggle adventure written from the perspective of a witch sounds like an amazing children's book. Oh no, cried Sleeve McNitchell, the small fat child who could not fly. We are surrounded by criminals and wild animals and homework. What do we do? His best friend Todd Bonzales eyed the rhinoceros burglar nervously. Well, we can't fly away, that's for sure. A scene after the Deathly Hallows ending, revealing paramedics pulling a limp 11-year-old Harry Potter from the cupboard under the stairs and resuscitating him from carbon monoxide poisoning due to the leaky furnace. Young Harry says, I had the most wonderful dream. I was a wizard. Uncle Vernon exclaims, you're going to pay for the rescue wagon, and you probably broke the furnace too. Aunt Petunia calls him an insufferable child. Dudley laughs while eating an entire pie, calls Harry a wanker. Oh no. This is so evil, it's great. Is it like Narnia, where Harry was in dream world for actual years? All of his friendships, gone. His children, gone. His magic, gone. His parents, still gone, but this time actually from a car crash. The double twist is it turns out Hogwarts is real, and Owl arrives with the invitation to come to school and learn to be a wizard. It's for Dudley. Lily Potter had a secret, short-lived affair with Snape, and Harry is actually his child. He's aware of this, but out of his love for Lily agrees to never tell Harry or visit him for any reason. The reason Snape hates Harry so much is because he is bitter and angry that James Potter deprived him not only of his one and only true love, Lily, but also his only child. A child he can never tell the truth to. The internal conflict from the affair is what led him turning to Voldemort's side early on. Because even though he hated James, he felt he had wronged him. In his self-loathing, he takes it out on Harry, whom he sees as making the same mistakes he did, and as a younger version of himself. 50% chance Rowling says something along these lines about Snape and a character at some point. And I'd be surprised if this isn't fanfic already 100% popped into my head when read this, because it'd be just another way to F up the universe and make things worse. I hope she never reads this thread because it will all become canon from here on out. Dealing with the rogue flying car in the Forbidden Forest falls under the purview of the Misuse of Muggle Artifacts Office and is therefore Arthur Weasley's job. Arthur Weasley, after hearing Ron's and Harry's accounts of its behavior, is too scared to deal with it, and years later his successor is given the file in his onboarding package. B, as well, is too scared to deal with it, even with fresh reports of sightings in the greater Hogsmeade area. It is only when his successor's assistant, a hot-headed great-grandchild of Hermione Granger, finds the file, while on temporary administrative punishment duty, that something is done. He spends his entire 1-month probationary period backpacking in the Forbidden Forest after a tense standoff with the Centaurs to hunt the wayward automobile. He returns with a rusted hood ornament, a shift knob, and a car battery, nearly unrecognizable under half a century of corrosion, as proof of his conquest. That it was all a fantasy of Hedwig the entire time. She was just one poor lonely, bored and neglected owl kept in a small cage all her life, and a dream to keep from going insane and attacking her owners, as that would surely have her killed. She spent so long daydreaming, her own stories became contrived and convoluted. The Great Depression was caused by a combination of muggles using magic to dodge taxes and wizards using accounting to dodge magical taxes. There existed, for a very brief time, a pen/wand that would bend reality to match any accounting documents written with it. It was hunted down and destroyed after a clerk debited potatoes. Not a potatoes account, mind you. He accidentally debited all the potatoes away from Ireland. Fred and George were never twins. George perfected a double illusion technique while in utero, so he could be more effective at pulling pranks. He got tired of maintaining the illusion and took the Battle of Hogwarts as an opportunity to end the illusion by killing Fred. Hermione has been secretly hoarding corn, yes, as in corn on the cob, in her room, since she was very young. Even after she left for Hogwarts, she continued to hoard corn in her dorm. She never speaks about it, she just quietly collects the vegetable, as if it's second nature. One day, Harry and Ron discovered her corn stash. Since then, they frequently ask her about why she collects corn, but she pretends she never heard that and keeps talking to them about the things they were previously discussing. Okay, but why does she hoard corn? What's the answer? Very likely she really loved eating corn when she was very little. This wasn't just her favorite food, it was an obsession, kind of like how most kids are obsessed with trivial things. Because of this, she started stealing corn from the market whenever her family takes her. A few years after her first year at Hogwarts, she forgets about this weird obsession, but she still collects corn out of habit. It's pretty much a part of her daily routine. She was never allowed to have it. It gets caught between your teeth and her parents are dentists. In the late 90s, an American wizard decided to invent padded grips that a witch or wizard could slip onto their wand for personal preference and a better handle on casting their spells. The product was called a Woody, and Arthur Weasley, with his extensive interest in muggle items and lingo, was the only one who seemed to find it hilarious. Luna Lovegood's husband dies in a crumple, Horn-Snorkack-related accident, and she remarries Neville Longbottom. They have 2 children together, and have a happy, blended family while Neville goes on to become one of the most renowned herbologists in Hogwarts history, using Luna's talents for hunting the unknown and Neville's unparalleled bravery to find new species of plants that help cure Alzheimer's and other memory-related issues. They die in Peru at the ripe age of 102 and 99 respectively, in a haunting mangrove accident. Hermione's muggle parents were actually adoptive parents and her real parents were Lord Voldemort and Bellatrix Lestrange, but they dumped her at a muggle orphanage because they were too busy subverting the wizarding world to be tied down with an infant. After the events of the 7th book, as part of therapy, Harry became proficient at bridge, the muggle card game. He attended several tournaments wearing hats to hide his scar, but no one really cared. He would rent a hotel room for whole weekends Ginny understood it was something Harry needed for himself, and the understanding was that there was to be no communication between them during his bridgecations. He met an older woman at a tournament in Leeds, and had a one-night stand with her. She ended up pregnant, which was a surprise for both of them. He brewed her an abortion potion, but she refused to take it, promising Harry the baby would never interfere with his wizard life. She ended up losing the child to a miscarriage in the 3rd trimester. She never told Harry, or spoke to him ever again. After the stress of the pregnancy, Harry never played competitive bridge again, but he'd get a muggle paper delivered to his house, in order to read the bridge column. Ginny saw him crying to himself one morning and desperately wanted to ask, but the rift between them was already unspeakably wide, and she had secrets of her own. Thanks for watching.